Top TV, Truth of the People.
Well, a very good afternoon indeed, my dear viewer, wherever you are. This is Top TV, and I'm your host, Daniel Sirengo. As we get into the political fireworks, it is an atmosphere that every other person would really wish to see, wish to experience, and wish to learn from. Today, I'm not alone in the studio. On the set, I have a guest who also doubles up as a member of County Assembly aspirant for Ololua Ward. His name is Leroy Wangara. Welcome on set, Bwana Leroy. Yes. Now, as we chunk it down, we are into the political temperatures, we're into the political fireworks. Now, what motivates you into joining the politics?
Sironga. Thanks for having me. Sirengo.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
What motivates me to join politics?
Yes.
Is the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
It is the situation within which we find ourselves, especially as young people. You know, as young people of this country, we find that our means oblige us to pursue goals less ambitious than our hopes. And our circumstances require that we approach even those goals in stages.
Definitely.
So because of that gap in the weaknesses of the government, of the current administration or previous regimes, we have seen an opportunity which we wish to capitalize on for the benefit of our future generations. We feel disgruntled as the young people of this country, especially when it comes to leadership and governance. In all fairness, we are left out. And we have decided it's about time we fought for what we believe is rightfully ours.
Well, thank you. So it's about time, huh?
It's about time.
Well, I want to believe there's that motivation that you've said that is really pushing you into joining politics. Now, in the event of joining the political scene as an aspirant for member of County Assembly, what do you have as a manifesto that is gonna sell your policies into the general citizenry?
Now, Sirengo,
yes.
Before I come to my manifesto, if you'll allow me just 2 minutes.
All right.
You know the work of a member of the County Assembly. A member of the County Assembly has 3 roles. Representation of his people, legislation in terms of the legislative agenda, and oversight. Those are the only 3 functions mandated to the member of the County Assembly. So now representation ni ya kuwakilisha watu wako. Wanakuambia ile shida wako nayo nyumbani, wewe unaenda unaambia wale watu wenye wanafaa washughulikie hiyo mambo ile shida iko. And then of course there's in terms of the legislative agenda, which has been a big challenge for most legislators. You know, once you're a member of the County Assembly or member of Parliament for that matter, you're a legislator. Your work is to make laws.
Definitely.
And that has been a very big problem because the majority of the people who end up in those houses have very little understanding of the requirements of the law. I'm fortunate enough to be a lawyer. So I think I am best suited to contribute in terms of the legislative agenda and make a framework and an enabling environment for the young people of this country. I focus on the young people especially because I'm also in my youth. And unajua ujana ni moshi.
Na ukienda haurudi.
So that's what drives me.
That's what drives.
It's the passion of my youth. And the thing is, I feel like for one to lead, you must learn to follow. And I have followed.
Well, so Bwana Leroy, I think what you're trying to say is that your manifesto greatly revolves around the roles that are accorded to the member of County Assembly.
Yes.
So that's what you're really anchored towards.
Yes, exactly.
And going by the physical appearance, you seem to be a young and enthusiastic politician. What are some of the challenges that you may be facing or you are facing at the moment politically with regards to your age?
The challenges are there and there are many. Iko madharau inakuwa mingi ukiwa ni kijana, unaingia mikutano ya wazee hawataki kukusikiza. Wakati mwingine unanyimwa mic, unaona lazima ujipiganie, inabidi utoe kifua. There's also the issue of it is not a very level playing ground. And I've always insisted that the position of the member of the county assembly be reserved for the youth.
Definitely.
It is very unfortunate because being a leader, Sirengo, is just like any other occupation.
Yes.
It's like being a teacher, it's like being a doctor, it's like being a nurse for that matter. And that is why you draw a salary, because at the end of the day you're working.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes.
But the thing has been, we have said that the position of the member of the county assembly especially should be a career option for the youth as opposed to a retirement plan for the older generation.
Definitely. Wow.
Manake unapata wewe unataka ujaribu, umetoka iko mtu amemaliza shule yako na miaka 24, amemaliza bachelor's degree yake in management. So they really understand that they can utilize resources and they can manage the little resources that their community is given, their respective communities, for the betterment of that society. Lakini sasa hiyo mtu anafaa kucompete na mzee, he's been in public service for over 40 years. Amekaa hivi nyumbani akaona ile MCA ya pale Roma amekufa. God forbid, anaona Mungu ameleta
an opportunity.
Right? This is someone who has been on a pension and has been employed for the last 30 years. So even when it comes to resource mobilization, you understand the gaps, the differences are major. You know, when you have to put posters, like Ololua Ward is an area of 19.2 square kilometers. Now, if you're going to put posters across that area, it's going to cost you, it's going to bite your pocket.
Definitely.
It is easier for that old man who has been employed for that period of time to be able to come up with those resources as compared to someone who's fresh out of uni, right? So the challenges are there. That is one of the challenges. It is a very
that's the most common challenge that you have experienced.
I would not say the most common. The most common is just discrimination, really, for the simple reason that we are young, we are assumed to be stupid. So there is very little you can tell people. You have to watch how you present yourself. You have to. There's more pressure on you compared to an older man. Ndio unasikia hata mtu anaulizwa, wewe unaomba kiti, mtu anatuambia nini hata ana bibi. Unajua hata hujaongoza nyumbani wewe. Fortunately enough, I'm a father of 2 kids.
Thank you.
So hiyo mimi nimeepuka. But I've seen it with a lot of young people out here. Unaambia wewe hata unaongoza hata boma, hata bedroom ni wewe hauna. Sasa utaambia watu nini? So the biggest challenge for the young people is discrimination, to be honest, really. And then of course the unlevel playing ground because of resource mobilization, because campaign financing is a tedious process. It requires hard work.
Now, as you have mentioned the unlevel playground, as well as the discrimination that has been there. Now, what makes you think really you're up to task with regards to countering these challenges? Because it's real, these challenges are there. So what makes you to stand tall in the crowd?
Well, if you remember, I just told you a few minutes ago that for one to lead, you must learn to follow. Yes, and I'm very fortunate to have followed some very prominent men back in the day. I have I would say my somewhat career in politics has spanned over the last 9 years, give or take.
All right.
I was a gold member of the KANU party for 7 years. I have worked for different politicians from up to Nyumbani. And I know how this game is played. Siasa is a game. And as such, you'll not be judged by your intentions, only the effect of your actions.
Only the effects of your actions.
Yes, it will not really matter that your intentions are best for the people.
Well, Bwana Leroy, I think you have mentioned something to do with being a gold member of KANU party for close to 7 years.
It was for around 7 years.
For around 7 years. Now, it is also common knowledge that in order for you to clinch to that position of being the member of County Assembly Ololua Ward, you need to have a vehicle that is going to propel you towards that direction.
Yeah.
So the constitution requires it's either you be independent as verified by the IEBC or you have a party. Now, at the moment, do you have a clear vehicle that you're going to board with regards to the journey towards being the member of County Assembly Ololua Ward?
Unataka kunimaliza kisiasa. We are still toying with the idea of a particular party. As you know, like I've told you, the challenges for young people, it is a very costly affair to contest as an independent.
Definitely.
So that is definitely not an option. And Kenyans are not yet ready to embrace that ideology just yet. You will see that the number of people who actually get elected, I think in the National Assembly, the people who could say have been elected on independent tickets would probably not be more than
the very few.
10 in a house of 290. Actually, it's 300 and 290 is the number of constituencies plus the women reps. So we have around 347 members of parliament, I think, give or take.
Okay.
So the thing is, independent is not an option we are considering.
Okay.
The thing here is we are settling for an ideology. And on one side is the Kazi, and there is the Azimio la Umoja.
Definitely.
Now, for me, where I stand, I had the honorable member for women rep for Laikipia the other day saying that she's jumped into UDA because she asked her people in which hands was their future safe.
Literally, how the conditions, the temperatures are on the ground.
Yes. Yeah. It is very important as a politician that you listen to the people on the ground. So we are still consulting.
You're still consulting
widely. And when we do have a definite choice, you will be the first to know.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. So, in your very own words, you were saying vying as an independent candidate is not an option at the moment.
It is not.
It is not an option. So you're really trying to make engagements here and there to see the party, the vehicle that really buys your ideology. So that's where you're going to vote.
It's not the party to buy my ideology. It's me to see which party's ideology best aligns with my aspirations for the people of Ololo.
Okay.
So in the case that happens to be Kazi, that's where we will Salalia. But in the case that inclusivity is more important to my people, Azimio la Umoja is an option.
All right.
So when that time comes, we shall keep you posted.
We look forward. We look forward to it. So now, also you have also mentioned something to do with having a manifesto and the representation of the people's needs and actually the people's needs to the county assembly.
Yeah.
Now we've seen people come, people go with the very same language. They ask for votes. Some are lucky enough to get the votes. They get the positions. We've seen what has happened. So we have had an array of status quo. What do you think, as a young and enthusiast politician, what do you think you're going to bring into this political history, rather political culture that we have been experiencing in the past and even in the present? What is this very unique thing that you're coming to change?
And you must realize I'm here to tell you what my manifesto is about. Now, what I think I could change personally, because I can only speak for myself, is I have looked at my little community of 38,000 people, and I have talked to them, and I have engaged them countless times over extended periods of time to try and find out the challenges that they face.
Yes.
And among the biggest challenges is transparency and accountability.
Transparency and accountability.
Yes. Today, if you want to know how much money was spent by your local member of a county assembly for the construction of that bridge, he says he claims to have used 7 million. You cannot, there's no empirical evidence that can be adduced to that fact. Hawezi pata hiyo nini mahali, utatafuta, utaenda kwa ofisi huko uzungushwe siku mzima ukalishwe chini ufanye nini. The biggest challenge has been transparency. Even how the bursary program is conducted, how the funds are disbursed. It's not open. It's nile mtu alikampenia wewe. Huyu mama alinikampenia mimi, vijana yake mpatie.
So it's about rewards.
It's about rewards.
Rather than following the
exactly.
The
and the only reason it's about rewards is because nobody, it is not mandatory for them to put it out there. Of course, I think the law says that you should put it, I think Article 43, was it 42 on information? It is the right of every Kenyan to access information that is subject to public interest. But this information is nowhere.
It's nowhere.
So the one thing that I can promise my people is transparency and accountability. We will publish the bursary list. We will come up with a website if God wills it, so that you can see all the projects that we intend to undertake. Unajua contractor ni nani, analipwa siku gani, amefanya kazi gani kwa ground. And we hope that hopefully the contractors will have to come from our locality, so that in the case that jamaa ameshindwa na kazi, mnajua mlango yake mnaweza gonga hivi masaa yote.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for making that clarification. Now, I think it is also very important for the people of Ololua to have a glimpse of what your manifesto looks like.
Yeah.
And okay, in the first place, do you have a manifesto?
I have a 14-page manifesto.
You do have a 14-page manifesto.
Yes.
Now, could you kindly take us through some of the the most basic pillars of that manifesto?
Well, our manifesto is centered around Article 43, Laws of Kenya. So social and economic rights, especially. Right. So healthcare is a priority for us. Like I've told you, Ololo is 19.2 square kilometers. It has a population of slightly over 38,000 people with only one public health facility. That health facility is strained. There's lack of staffing, there's no drugs, there is no optical services you could get, or dental services for that matter. The ward capacity is small. And I visited the doctor the other day, and he was trying to explain to me how it was supposed to be a level 3 hospital. But there's nothing. The roads, when it rains, you cannot access the hospital.
Very much inaccessible.
Yeah, so basically our first agenda for our people is healthcare. The problem is our economy is in such a dire state that we cannot even afford to fall sick.
So you're just a sickness away from poverty.
Well,
literally, that's
you could say that. You could really say that. So it's yes, our manifesto is anchored on UN declarations and Vision 2030 protocols and things like that. So under the Abuja Declaration of 2001, African countries undertook to allocate 15% of their annual budgets to healthcare. Now, on the assumption that we're getting 30 million every year, because that's what the Ward Development Fund is. The Ward Development Fund in Kajiado County, every ward gets 30 million every year for the development of the ward.
Right.
So on the assumption that we get 30 million, that would mean allocating 4.5 million shillings to that critical sector. Over a period of 3 to 4 years. Of course, we can, depending on the progress, we'll see whether to increase funds or reduce. But ultimately, I'm sure with if we pump 4.5 into that small dispensary that we have every year, that is a lot of money. Juzi ananiambia ametengeneza, wameletewa generator, hakuna mali ya kuweka generator. Namuuliza wewe generator ikiwekwa ni ngapi? Ananiambia 50.
God forbid.
50 Gs, hakuna 50 Gs ya kuweka generator kwa hospitali. Unaona, unaenda hospitali unaambiwa nunua gloves, nunua pamba, nunua makasi. Sasa kwa kweli
literally
unajitibu. Good.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things we need to change. Environment conservation is a matter that is close to my heart, and food security. So we are trying to see how we can come up with a project that allows all small. Ololo our ward has very many small scale farmers. Watu wanapanda kuku, that's not proper Kiswahili. Utanielewa mimi. Wanapanda, wakulima ni wengi.
Wanafuga kuku.
But you'd be very surprised. All the food that we eat from our area comes from Nairobi. Why is that? Right? If we could have a revolving fund for agriculture for our people. According to the Maputo Declaration of 2003, African countries undertook to allocate 10% of their budget. Now, on the assumption that is 30 million we are getting, that's 3 mic.
That's 3 mic.
Right? 3 million can help a lot of small scale farmers.
Sure.
And I can trust me, by the end of the first year, we are self-sufficient. Kitu kama hii, mbona mayai ni 12 bob?
So in your own perspective,
these things don't have to be done by the national government.
It has to be
can start at the ward level.
From the ward level.
There are certain things that do not require the input of the national government to change.
All right.
We can be self-sufficient in terms of food security and conserving our own environment and school.
Well said. So you have actually touched on the matters health, you've touched on matters
food security and agriculture. Of course, there's youth empowerment.
What about education?
Education, as you is
because we are looking, we are at that particular time and era where the reality of the day is that education is the only levelized.
Correct.
So how best are you going to make sure that the residents of Ololuwa Ward get access to schools which are affordable?
Okay.
Because they say the government subsidizes for the basic education. But in the real sense, the burden has been shifted there to the parents. Yeah. And especially with issues to do with the introduction of the CBC,
correct,
the competence-based curriculum. What's your take about the same?
On education,
yes.
If you'll allow me to start by talking about our honorable member for Kajiado North, is called Manje. Maji amejaribu because he's given us in every location in my ward, for example, there's a secondary school. So at least I can brag over 100% transition rate in my ward. Hakuna mtoto anakaa nyumbani kwa sababu amekosa shule. It is very easy. Hata kama ulipata 80 out of 500, you can be admitted to a school. So the transition rate to high school is very good. Now, with an effective bursary program, which is the NGCDF one, unfortunately ours has not been working because of politics. Iko wrangles, unapata MCA haelewani na governor, sasa governor labda ataki ya, inakuwa ni hiyo siasa mingi inaharibu kazi. So, as a member of the county assembly, because I'm dealing with the county, my priority on education would have to be early childhood education. Early childhood. Yes, early childhood is what is the mandate of the county.
Now, well, you have mentioned something to do with the infights between, let's say, the member of the county assemblies and the governor with regards to distribution of these resources, which are rightfully belong to the people, to the residents of Ololua.
Yes.
And the entire Kajiado.
Correct.
County. So let's say this has been happening. Don't you see it as a challenge to you in case you clinch to that position?
Well, lucky for me, I'm a good negotiator. When I come to the table, I come with clean hands. So it is, we will always get a deal, and a deal that works for our people. You know, the challenge has been that sababu ya mrengo tofauti inakuwa ni ngumu kufanya kazi. Like Nyanza has only seen development after the handshake. No, ndio. It is just how governments work. Bureaucracy is everywhere. So if your relationship with the person who's giving you, do not bite the hand that feeds you. All right? Even in the case that jamaa uhusiano umeharibika, for it is, being a leader is about sacrifice. Put your ego down, put your pride aside, and deliver for your people, because ultimately mimi naweza sema mimi unisaidii kama governor, acha nikurushie mkono. But the people who will suffer are the 38,000 people who expect me to represent for them.
Definitely. Well, so, thank you so much, Bwana Leroy. And I think the very last question I want to ask you, we have seen people at the very basic political unit, let's say the ward level. We have kept on seeing people complaining about the leadership at the topmost positions, and in the reality, they have an opportunity to choose people who can represent them well from the ward level, and these members of the county assembly are the ones to make sure that the people who are on the grassroots really experience, rather encounter whatever they really voted in for. So what's your take? What's your take? Are you going to be this kind of a person who gets into this elective position and says, okay, fine, in as much as the problems are at the topmost notch of the political hierarchy, then it's none of your business? Or you're going to be that person who has a solution for that? And how? Just how best can you have a solution for that?
For what exactly?
We have been seeing, let's say, the problems that are challenges, maybe the antagonizing topmost politicians. We have seen this happening in the Jubilee Party. The deputy president and the president himself taking different ways with regards to ideologies, and also how they conduct the businesses of the parties and the nation at large, and this has been affecting up to the ward level. And we've seen the members of the county assembly, we've seen the members of parliament, we've seen the senators keeping silent about the same, and the issues that are really boiling at the topmost really affect people on the grassroots. So are you going to sit there now, assuming that you are the member of county assembly of Ololua, are you not going to be bothered by the disunity at the topmost? And if you're bothered, do you have a solution plan for that?
You know, I'll tell you, I have to take sides. No one is neutral. Even the Pope. Even the Pope, if you give him today, if he goes to the ballot, he will choose a side. Right. So no one is neutral. Okay. So I will definitely take sides, but not at the expense of service delivery to my people. So if it will cost my people, the people who expect me to represent them, the services that they require, I will do the most honorable thing. Na mimi sina tamaa ya uongozi, ikinishinda hata nitaachana nayo. Right? I'm only here because I believe that I can change a few things. Naweza kujenga mambo 2-3 alafu Mungu atajalia wale watakuja wapake rangi. So I cannot say that I'll be unbothered because politics determines the price of milk. Right? The price of bread, how much you pay as your rent. All that is determined by politics. And the youth have to take an active role in siasa if they're going to determine these things for themselves. So I might take sides, but what I can assure you is whichever side I decide to align myself with must not be to the detriment of the 38,000 people that I seek to represent.
All right. Thank you so much for being so clear about that.
Surely.
And maybe in your last words to your last call to the general citizenry, what plea do you have to the voters, to the people on the ground, to the people at Ololuwa Ward? What can you tell them? I think you'll have to use that camera and address that one.
Okay.
Address the people because it's the people of Ololuwa are really following you at the moment. Now address them. Give the last call.
Okay.
Yes.
This one I'd like to say in Kiswahili. Unajua kizungu mingi hiyo inaleta shida. Kwa wale wajui, mimi naitwa Wangara Leroy, wakili, katibu mkuu wa kikundi inaitwa Maendeleo Yetu, na mgombeaji wa kiti ya Ololuwa, member of the county assembly. Mimi ile tunaweza sema ni hiyo wakati ikifika, kwa sababu hiyo wakati itafika, and we will have to choose one side or another. Tutofautishe kati ya mtu wa kazi na mwanasiasa. Na tofauti si ngumu. Mwanasiasa ni kitu tofauti, ni kitu moja, inaitwa sera. Ile mtu ana sera anakuja anasema patie watu 200 watanipigia mimi kura. Alafu ikifika kwa kazi inashindikana. So mimi ile tunasema ni hata si lazima ikuwe mimi, bora ni mtu ya kazi. Lakini hata mimi, kwa sababu nimetembea kwa mashule yetu na mahospitali, nimekaa na wazee wamenichanua mambo 2-3, mama zangu ameniweka kwa maombi, na mimi ni kijana, najua shida ya vijana. Hakuna haja ya kuniacha mimi nje tutafute mtu ana Google how to be an MCA. In 2022 let us make the right choice. Tuchague mtu wa kazi. Regardless of their background, regardless of their economic status or even social status for that matter. Mtu tu anatufanyia kazi, mtu mwenye atashinda kwa ofisi ya mbunge wetu na ya gavana yetu na hata ya serikali kuu ikibidi, mpaka malalamishi yetu yasikizwe. Surely.
Well, thank you very much, Bwana Leroy.
Shukrani mingi.
It was a pleasure having you on
The
set.
pleasure is mine.
And we wish you all the best as you get out to convince the people of Ololuwa Ward how best you can serve them. Well, thank you so much for keeping it live at Top TV. My name is Daniel Sirengo. Till next time. Bye-bye.